If you have worked in corporate America, maybe a few times in that career, you might have thought, I'm done with this. I want to start my own business. I want to buy a franchise. And that's something very, very normal. Now, before you do that, there's 5 things that I think you should understand before you do that. And that's 5 things about yourself. So let's start. It's very common for a lot of people working in corporate America to say, hey, I want to leave this company and start my own thing. Or I want to leave this company and start a franchise. And then you go online, you start looking around. But before you do that, I think there's 5 things that you need to understand about yourself before you commit yourself to buy a franchise or to start a business. So let's start with that. Number 1 will be understand your personality. What type of persona you have. There's a few tests online that you can take. There's one called 16 Personality Factor Questionnaire. It's free online. You can actually Google it. Go over it, see what type of personality you have, what type of leader you want to be, and things like that. Now, here's where a bit of education actually helps out. For me, I read 2 books that changed my life completely. The first one was Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erickson. He basically puts the 4 major personalities, and basically he goes and says like their characteristics and how to deal with all of them. So it depends on your personality, how you deal with other people. The other one was The ADHD Advantage by Del Alker. This book was very important for me because I suffer from ADHD and I wanted to understand myself. I used to think that having ADHD was something bad for me. And after reading this book, I have realized how things that I normally do can be used to be better. Now, why is this important? If you're looking for a franchise, for example, you need to know what is your personality. That way, when you go looking for a franchise, you can figure out which one will be the best one. The same one if you're trying to get a business start or a side hustle start, you need to know what type of personality you have. With that, you know what type of product, what type of service, or what type of customers you want to have. Now, the second one is a bit hard, and it's understand your weakness and strength. Why is this hard? Because sometimes you have to look inside and kind of like accept things that you might not be comfortable with. One of the things that I would recommend you to do for this, talk to your significant others. Ask them, hey, what do you think is my strength? What do you think are my weaknesses? Ask someone with a piece of paper, write down what type of weaknesses do I have. This is extremely important. Why? Because when you're starting a business, you need to know what type of people you need around to be able to help you with your weaknesses, what things you need to do to help you overcome those weaknesses. And you want to rely more on your strength. That way, your business and your franchise might be better at the end of the day. And number 3 is understand your why. One of my favorite writers is called Simon Sinek. He has a lot of information out there to be able to understand your why. Why is understanding your why important? It is because if you don't know why you're doing things, when things start getting hard, when things start getting complicated, you might just throw the towel. So you need to understand, it's my why helping people. It's my why my family. It's my why being able to compete. It's my why being able to make money. Whatever it is, you need to write it down. He also says that you don't need to make it. So if you find someone that has a nice why, you can just copy it and do that for yourself too. Number 4 will be understand your financial situation. This one is very important, especially if you're planning to buy a franchise. Why? You need to have money to start a business. You need to have money to purchase a franchise. Without money, you will not be able to survive enough time to be able to be successful. Now, this is not only about how much money you have in the bank safe or how can you be able to get money to invest in something. This is also on how you work with your personal finance. When you work with your personal finance and you know where your money is going, you know where you're putting your money, every dollar has a job, then when you have a business, you can translate that into your business. So it's important not only understanding how much money you have in the bank, how to be able to get the money that might be in the next 2 years, I'm going to work extra and all that money extra that I'm going to put it to invest in a franchise or invest in starting my own business. But also, you need to start learning a bit of personal finance and how to be able to have a budget and do all these things to help you out. Now, number 5, define your goals. So you cannot go anywhere if you don't know where you want to be. It's important to know that I want to go to this place. I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to be successful in these areas. You need to write this down and understand what are the steps that you need to do to be able to get there. And those steps are going to change. For example, every October on my birthday, I write down how was my year and what are my goals for my next year. And I try to figure out what steps am I making to get there. The steps changes. Sometimes I have to sit down 3 months in and be like, I don't think what I'm doing here might be good. This might be better if I do this here. So you need to define your goal. Do you want to have a business? That's fine. What type of business do you want to have? You want to have a restaurant? You want to have something that is more service oriented? Where are you going to go? That way, whenever you're traveling to your goal, you know what steps you need to be making to be able to get there. Now, what I recommend you to do after all this is just sit down with a paper. This is not something that's going to happen in 2 days. This is going to take you like a few weeks of you thinking about your why, thinking about your personality, thinking about your strengths and weaknesses, thinking about your goal. But you need to write them down. If you don't write them down, you don't know you. You need to be able to, if I ask you, hey, what are your weaknesses? You need to know what are your weaknesses. If I ask you where you're going, what's your goal? You need to tell me like, Jorge, I want to go to have X company and I want to be able to do this. So you need to write this down. So there was a study that followed a few people that wrote their goals and other people that didn't. And they concluded that people that write their goals, they were able to make them happen more often than the ones that didn't. There's a reason for all that. If you know and you read it and you see it every month, you know where you need to work on. Have a good day.